right, I am live. Hello, folks. You guys know how this works. I'm going to check audio. I usually have headphones in for this. Oh, shoot. Folks, you guys know how this works. I'm going to check audio. Pull because the nice folks over at the Iowa people use this part of the platform too. No, get the Iowa background off. They took a tough loss today. All righty, technical issues should be over. Every once in a while with StreamYard, I just have issues. Media assets. I want this. There we go. Lordy. Welcome to the Voice of College Football, Missouri Tigers. I just have it. Lordy. Okay, we're all set. You heard my echo there. I am Zach Ramirez here with the Voice of College Football, Missouri Tigers, as we are here for Missouri Tigers post-game live. You can find me at Twitter at PsychoZ50. Of course, at the Voice of College Football. You can follow Mark Rogers at the Voice of College Football. Again, I want to thank Mark for letting us do this, as I do every week throughout the season. The Missouri Tigers get the win over UMass 42-6, moving themselves to 5-0 on the young season. This one was interesting. There was obviously some good things. Bo sets the record for most completions by a Missouri Tiger in a row. He beats Chase Daniels' record from 2008 against Colorado, I believe. He finishes 26-29 for 241. He threw the awful pick that set up the only good score by the what's up, brother? Absolutely. A wonderful weekend, and we'll get into it for a little bit here. Absolutely the ugly pick by him, and it leads to UMass's only score in what was just a lackadaisical first half by the Missouri Tigers. Ahmad Hardy, again, 24 carries, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns, no explosives from Mr. Hardy today. Only a long of 18, as I see we got another chat from my friend. You think Oregon is number one? I could talk about that later. I'm kind of focused on Mizzou right now, but yeah, probably. That was a really good win. Although Ohio State winning at Washington, nothing bad. 3 weeks in a row, Bo has had a really bad pick. No, that was an ugly pick, and it sets up the only score for UMass. Just ugly. And it's the third game in a row. He had a bad one against Louisiana. He had a bad one against South Carolina last week, and this one was probably his worst one. So Hardy, again, a really nice game, even though he went out early with a hamstring thing. So I do wonder if maybe just he didn't have the same explosiveness. I am a little shocked he got 24 carries to just 52 for Jamal Roberts. Jamal Roberts, 6 carries for 52 yards. It did have a long of 30, so you knocked that off, 5 for 22. That's still not bad. That's still – so I'm not sure why Jamal necessarily didn't get more carries in this game. Mizzou did not cover. That was bad. My main takeaway is that was ugly. Look, they won 42-6. A win's a win. You got to be happy. You're 5-0. You got 2 weeks now to prepare for an Alabama team that did just beat Georgia on the road. Bama just beats Georgia. That's why, except for a national championship game where Alabama's missing its top 7 wide receivers. Bama has Vanderbilt next week. We saw what happened with that game last year, but it's now in Bryant-Denny. It was ugly. Offense, defense. It was a very 2024 Missouri Tigers football game, which is not what I want to see. That Mizzou team won 9 games in the regular season, but it was never a fun watch. And Mizzou this year has been a fun watch. It was just a slog, 4 or 5 yards. Brady Cook checking it down, guys getting enough for a first down, constant 12, 13, 14 play drives. And it just wasn't entertaining. And tonight's game was not entertaining. Thank goodness Bama, Georgia, and Oregon, Penn State wasn't good until the fourth quarter. But just not an entertaining football game. Longest play for the Missouri Tigers, 30 yards on a Jamal Roberts run. Longest pass play was to DeVoris Jones. I'm gonna shout him out just here in a moment. Just not a pretty game. The defense, they did force a turnover, but in a chat I'm in, someone, I believe he's in here tonight. Little Mr. Is his name on here still? Oh, David. Yeah. Mentioned that this team just doesn't force turnovers. They don't. And it's not Blake Baker's scheme, like Blake Baker's scheme that you see at LSU, where they blitz, they force pressures. Their goal is to create havoc, to make things happen. And that's just not the scheme at Mizzou right now. The scheme at Mizzou is sit back, drop guys into coverage, force everything in front, and make tackles. That scheme can work against a lot of teams, and we've seen that the last 2 years under Corey Batoon. But then when you watch games closely and you see them play last year's Texas A&M game, Kansas, some of these other teams, you do give up explosives. How you play like basically a modified prevent and give up explosives, I'm not quite sure. I just don't think these Missouri corners are very good. Now, Norwood didn't play much tonight. They really had Hall and Pride out there for the most part. Actually, I don't think Norwood played at all. And I don't think the safeties have had a really good start to the season. Catalan, Burks, Carnell. Yes, they did hold UMass to, I mean, how many total yards did UMass have? Let me make sure I have a note, but 124 yards of offense, and it wasn't until really late. Hairston, the quarterback for UMass, 11 for 31, a touchdown and a pick. UMass overall 14 of 39, 2.7 yards per carry, 16 rushes for 19 yards. So they ran the ball a lot better than South Carolina did. So credit to them for that, and Kansas. But just if you watch the game and you see breakdowns all over the place. I mean, last week Sellers just missed throws. This week the UMass quarterbacks missed throws. Like, they won the game. You have to be happy with wins because it's college football. You only get 12 of these games guaranteed a year, and Mizzou's now 5-0. But when you have a game like this where you're facing quite literally the worst team in college football, seeing breakdowns like you did all night long, guys were open, guys were running free, and their quarterback just couldn't hit them or they drop it. It's frustrating. I don't think I think the defense played fine. Like, that effort will beat nobody, but the effort they played with tonight will not beat anybody else on the rest of their schedule. Not even Mississippi State, because Mississippi State, look, I've said all offseason, I mean, if we'll see, like, if you're going to do it, it's probably during the bye week. Look, I'm terrified that Ryan Williams and Bernard are both going to go for $150 in 2 weeks with Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson, the thing with Ty is when he played Florida State, he was making the right reads. He was throwing it to the right guy. The thing that Ty Simpson kept doing was he was a beat late. And when you're a beat late, and I don't think Florida State's secondary is supremely talented. We saw that against Virginia last night if you watched the Noles. But even college-level Division I ACC athletes are going to get close off, even no matter how good or bad they are. Ty Simpson and he looks better. He played really well tonight against Georgia. I know in the second half they kind of slowed down offensively, and Georgia's defense isn't what Georgia's defense has been. They don't like Georgia's defense is really good. It doesn't scare you. Like, it's not an offense. It's not a defense or like a prime Alabama defense, like 2012 Alabama, where you're like, we are just not going to move the ball. That was what Georgia has been. That's not them this year. But yeah, I'm terrified of this secondary right now against Ryan Williams, Bernard. Alabama's got weapons. They can't run the ball, but like against this Mizzou team, do you even really need to run the ball? As far as the young kids at secondary, guys like a Deloach, we'll see. But man, like I jokingly put on Twitter and on a chat, like, Ty Simpson's going to put himself in the Heisman race with what he's going to do to this Mizzou secondary. I might not be joking. I know the numbers look good. 39 attempts for UMass, 105 yards. What is my cat doing? She's just rolling around for 105 yards, touchdown and a pick. But there were guys running open all night long, and that was just super annoying to see because it's UMass. Defensively, I thought the defensive line was okay. UMass did a really nice job of getting the ball out quick. I thought Darius Smith actually had a really nice game. He had a sack. He was in on a bunch of other pressures. Didn't notice some of the other guys as much. Tristan Newsome seems to have fallen behind in the rotation, which is probably okay. Like, you've been around as long as he has. There's a reason. So I'm okay with like Khalil Jacobs and Jeremiah Beasley and Nick Rodriguez and those guys taking snaps from him. But he's still a veteran presence. He's still, fine. And then obviously Trotter is still really good. I mean, tackles for a loss. Darius Smith had one. Khalil Jacobs had one. Elias Williams he killed the quarterback. I thought he was going to kill the quarterback. Even Mose Phillips had a tackle for a loss, and he hasn't played a whole bunch at all this season. So, Santana Banner gets a pick. So there are things to be encouraged about defensively. Like Santana Banner, I think, has really come along. Like, coming from Northern Illinois, he wasn't expected to really be a starter. And now he's getting a lot of minutes. I think the squad, he's playing over Mose Phillips, who I thought was going to play coming over from Virginia Tech. So good on him. It puts a ton of pressure on Zion Young, on Damon Wilson, on Darius Smith, on the interior defensive line, which just doesn't have a bunch of good dudes in it. Although I thought Elias Williams played pretty well tonight, so we'll see moving forward. You occasionally blitz like a Khalil Jacobs or something. You have to create havoc in college football, and maybe they've been saving it. Again, this is going to sound like me trying to be optimistic, and I am an optimistic human being. If you have a plan, like there are some teams I follow, they don't have a plan in place. They kind of free will it, and I'm negative. If you have a plan in place, I'm generally pretty optimistic. So the optimistic spin is, look, it's UMass. Why would we do anything? Like, we were going to win this game by 100 no matter what. There's no reason to show anything exotic. They didn't even play Bo like that late into the third, even though they were only out. Like, it was only 35-6 when they put Zollers in. I thought that might be the score like half. So, is what it is. Defensively, they played okay. The run defense is still awesome, but I think Power Mizzou had a tweet. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I know I'm on a little bit later than I normally am, but look, Penn State, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia. I think I'm licensed to be like, you know what? Those games are late in the fourth. Let me catch the end of these. Let me look here. I think Power Mizzou had the tweet. Okay, so since the Central Arkansas game, so the 4-game since, Mizzou has allowed 153 rushing yards on 77 carries. 84 of them came on one play against Louisiana. On the other 76 carries, teams are averaging 0.97 yards. That is insane. Mizzou also has 18 rushing touchdowns on the season. Offensive line, Curtis Piegler had a bad night. I think the entire interior O-line had a bad night. Thinking about those three going up against like Tim Kelly in a few weeks, kind of terrifying. Or against Auburn's D front. When Caden Green comes back, I actually be okay if you moved him to guard and kept Richardson. I thought Richardson was okay. Trost was pretty good tonight. Let's be honest, I don't think Mizzou was playing at 100% effort. I just don't. It didn't look like. If that was 100% effort, be terrified. But it just didn't look like it. It looked like they were really coasting. Even up 7-6, there's like, all right, we can kind of get points whenever we want. I know people were complaining about no deep shots. Guys, UMass was dropping 8 into coverage, dropping 7 into coverage, and playing 2 safeties 20 yards off the ball. Like, you're just not going to – I don't care if you're playing a high school. You're just not going to get deep shots there unless you trust your guy to just make an amazing one-on-one catch. And why do that? Like, why waste it down potentially when you can just move the ball through the air and get 6? Now, what that doesn't mean is your receiver can't catch the ball and just go 50 yards, break a tackle. We saw Marquise Johnson, take like an 8-yard route, and I think he took it for like 15 because he just ran across the whole length of the field and cut it up. But we need to see more. We just need to see more from this receiving core. Kevin Coleman, kind of into the Missouri version of Jordan Tyson, where like that's all Arizona State throws to. He had 12 catches for 108 yards. Brett Norfleet, 6 for 52. He caught the only passing touchdown tonight. I'm going to give a big shout out to Tavoris Jones. Look, this kid was part of the 22 class with Luther Burden, 4-star running back, a very highly touted out of Texas. And he just really hasn't found a rhythm in this Missouri offense. Sophomore year, Cody Schrader emerges. 2024, he has some injury issues. 25, they get Ahmad Hardy, who's the best running back in the country. So, but tonight, he scored his first rushing touchdown, 4 carries for 24 yards, and he made a really nice contested catch up the sideline. So full credit to Jones, man. Like I agree with you, but like you're 5 weeks in, and you did use plenty of exotic stuff against South Carolina. Like Bama knows what you're going to do. I just don't think like you need to expand anything tricky against UMass. Bama knows what your offense looks like, and they played you last year. And Kirby Moore's been around, so it's not like you have new things you're going to do. Bo's a different quarterback, but than Brady Cook was. But I don't think that's really it. I just don't think you need to expand the playbook when. Look, if Mizzou didn't win this game, like the fact they won by 36, and I'm kind of irritated about it, says a lot. But no, a lot of credit to Tavoris Jones. I think Marquise Davis is clearly the third back, but I think Jones deserves some time. Maybe put him in the slot sometimes. Like he looks like he has good hands. That was a really nice catch. So Tavoris Jones, shout out to him, scoring his first touchdown as a Missouri Tiger tonight, and he finished with 20 yards. 24, so 44 yards on 5 touches. It's pretty good. Had a 17-yard rush. Saw Tommy Locke for the first time tonight. He airmailed a pass to, I think it was Jude James, to be honest. Just nothing crazy to get excited about offensively. Mizzou had a nice kick return for the first time, I think, like ever. Demarion Fowles. He also did drop a punt. He had one 34-yard punt return, a 44-yard kick return. So he did some nice things, but he also just muffed one. So I was kind of hoping Robert Meyer would get a chance to kick a couple field goals. But, I had to think for the whole secondary, but I think I kind of went into it. Like, I just don't think the secondary play. I know I'm kind of rambling. It's 10:30 and I had to work. The bank's open on Saturday, so I was there from 9 to noon. So, it's been a long day for me. I've been up for 14 hours. Good Lord. But just going one of the ugly. I know he brought it up, Caden Green. I would shift Caden Green inside. Like this interior, Curtis Piegler is just not an SEC caliber guard. He's just not. I don't think Richardson's that bad. You kind of need to help him a little bit with some H-back and tight end stuff, but he's getting cooked, and he got cooked tonight. Like the couple sacks Norfleet took, or that Bo took, were on him. He got turned inside out. UMass did have 4 sacks tonight. It's not something you want to see. They're 0-4 now on the season. The Minutemen before they head into MAC play. I thought their quarterback AJ Harrison. I thought he came out okay. I thought he looked all right for the most part for like a MAC quarterback. Let's see. Like who picked that for them? It was a nice return. Timmy Peter. Sorry, I did not have the audio on in this game. The audio went to the whiteout. I apologize. But I warned you all about this on Monday's show. But it was a nice return by him, a nice tackle. Can't believe I had to say that, but it was a nice tackle to get him out of bounds by Jamal Roberts. Good hustle play. It was cool to see Cameron Keys and Javion Wilson get some snaps. CJ Bass had a pass, had a PD. But I was kind of hoping they would get Robert Meyer some attempts, man, because like you're going to need him to make a few kicks moving forward. What else did I want to get into about this game tonight? So we'll be live Monday, obviously. Mizzou's on a bye week. Their first of two. The other one's in about a month. Look, the slate, like today's, like if you're a Mizzou fan, tonight has to be a little discouraging because Bama just went in and beat Georgia. Like if Bama had lost this game, we'll see how they play. Like Bama still has by the time Mizzou was done, Bama still had 2 data points before you got to the game in Columbia. I just, man, like I don't think I'm gonna be able to talk myself into them winning that game at this point. Auburn might be 3-3 by the time you play them. They get Georgia at home in 2 weeks, so we'll see there. Or no, next week I think they got Georgia. No, I think they have a bye too. I think they're Georgia and then or is it bye week? It's bye week, then Georgia, then they get Mizzou. So, but they'll probably be like 3-3 when we play them. Arkansas looks dead in the water. They look like they quit today. They're bad, but they're not. Like their offense is better than what they showed against Notre Dame. Oklahoma, we'll kind of see what they look like towards the end of the year. But Mississippi State looks awesome. So, hey, like they lost. But they lost in OT against a Tennessee team that I think is pretty good. So that's a hell of an effort by the Bulldogs. So the slate looks tougher, man. Like Texas A&M looks all of the makings of a top 10 team. Bama looks like a top 10 team. Oklahoma's a top 10 team. Like things are going to get harder as the season goes along. You don't have any more gift games. So this is a big bye week. It's a big bye week. Get healthy. We'll see about Caden Green. I know, but all the nicks and crannies or nook that people get during the first few weeks of the season, get those healed up because this team can make the playoff. I wouldn't bet on it. I'm not confident in that. It can do it though. You have 7 games left. You need to win 5. And personally, I still think Mississippi State at home, you should win. I think Mississippi State's, if that game was in Starkville, I'd be scared crapless about that game. But it's at Columbia. I think Arkansas, you should win because I think Arkansas's quit for the most part on this season. We'll see what they do moving forward. They always seem to pull one stupid upset, so we'll see what happens. But so if you win those 2 games like you should, you got to win 3 of 5. Bama, Texas A&M, at Auburn, at Vandy, at Oklahoma. You could lose all 5 of those games. You could win 1 of those games. Again, before the season, I predicted 8-4. The season's kind of gone how from a win-loss perspective, it's gone exactly how I thought it would. And I had Mizzou at 8-4. Now, it doesn't take a college football genius to predict the Missouri Tigers were going to beat UMass, Kansas, Louisiana, and Central Arkansas. And South Carolina is not that good. So we'll have to see moving forward. But, this is the time. Get things moving. Get things ramped up. Let these guys get healed up. Let them get going because game on, man. Alabama comes to town. Auburn at Vanderbilt. Another bye week. Texas A&M, Mississippi State, at OU, at Arkansas. You win 5 of those games. 5 of them. You go 5-2. You're going to probably make the playoff. 4-3, you're not going to make it. 6-1, you're probably in the SEC championship game. So this team can do it, but I just need to see more. Kansas gained respect for doing what? Losing to Cincinnati at home? They blowing a game to a bad Cincinnati team? That actually hurt. I was talking about this weekend, kind of not a great feel-good moment for Mizzou. Kansas losing at home to Cincinnati certainly doesn't help things. They blew another 1-score game. Leipold's a good coach, but my God, does he blow games? He can't manage a game right now. And he didn't do a good job in the Mizzou game either. it was just an ugly, ugly weekend for Mizzou. Like they get the win, they get the win, no serious injury, so it could always be worse. But like a 42-6 win over UMass and the teams you got coming up on the schedule just look that much better. Like Bama's not unbeatable. Obviously, they lost to Florida State. I know Florida State lost, but I still think Florida State's a pretty good team. They're probably closer to what I kind of had in the preseason. They're probably closer to like an 8-4, 9-3 team than 10-2 or 11-1. We'll know more about Florida State when they play Miami next week. We're still early enough in the season, man. All this ties together. All these data points still trying to not their best moment. No, that is for true. Still trying to paint a picture. It's still hard to come up with big conclusions because a lot of people were really high on USC, and then they go to Illinois, and Illinois was clearly the better team a week after everyone declared Illinois garbage because they got beat by 53 against Indiana. Indiana is the next big thing again, which I still think they're a good team. And they go into Iowa and really struggle, which isn't shocking. Like, I don't think if you watch college football for any sort of time, like team wins big game, then has to go into Kinnick Stadium. Like team that's not an elite talent. Like if it's Ohio State, not Michigan, like prime Michigan, like 2023 Michigan. It's like Michigan, Ohio State, some Penn State teams, like Oregon maybe. Yeah, you're not shocked they won, but like if you're not that, like you're going to have a hard time winning in Kinnick. And so we don't have enough. We're still getting data points. Like we're through week 5 now. I think we have a lot of data points to kind of figure out what teams are. Mizzou's only played, I think, one team that might. Like Kansas should still make a bowl game, but that was one you cannot lose. Now your hopes are going from like 8-4 to 7-5 because they're not going to beat Iowa State. They're not going to beat Utah. And that puts them at 4 losses. They got to play like Oklahoma State. They should beat Kansas State at home. They did lose to Cincinnati. So not a great weekend there. Is there anything I really, really, really desperately need to touch on? Interior D-lines just got to be better. Chris McClellan, Sterling Webb, those guys need to play better. Shout out to Kevin Coleman. 3 best players tonight were Kevin Coleman, Ahmad Hardy, and I'm going to give it to Tavoris Jones. I know Prabula had a really decent night throwing the ball. Like he didn't throw any deep shots, but 29 completions for 241 yards isn't god awful considering what UMass was doing, playing safeties 15 to 18 yards off the ball and then dropping them. You weren't ever going to get deep shots against this team tonight. Like unless you had Tyreek Hill, it's like 2018 Tyreek Hill, you weren't getting deep shots. So Mizzou does get the win. We will be back Monday to talk more about this game, kind of get ready for the bye week. What I want to see more moving forward for Mizzou is they do pick up the win 42-6 over UMass. Hey, 5-0. I know nobody cares about this, but you're a game away from bowl eligibility. Woohoo. But you're a game away from a 13th game, and you're 5 games wins away from a potentially more than that. So everybody have a great night. I will see you on Monday, and then I'm going to shut up for a week because I don't have anything to do for the next week. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you for the guys that were in the comment section. I appreciate that. That makes this a little, especially when I'm tired and it's been a long day. We will talk more about this game on Monday. So be here at 7:00. Voice of College Football, Missouri Tigers. I'll tweet it out. You can follow me on Twitter at PsychoZees50. We'll kind of do the same thing we always do. We'll go through this game. I'll kind of go through like a Mizzou season recap so far, just because we do have 5 games. We're basically halfway through the year. And then we'll get into what I want to see during the bye week and kind of break down the SEC and like what happened this weekend. There was a lot that did happen. So you all have a wonderful night. I'm going to drink some water and I'm probably going to go to bed. I'm probably not going to watch the end of this Colorado BYU game. You all have a wonderful night. I will see you next week. MIZ.